thing there is a bit different on the C-Series combine is the front power feed roller. It's to give a better crop flow in the machine, so it all the way from the start of the feeder house it smooths out the crop flow into the machine and feeds it better into the threshing cylinder. So that's the whole point of this power feed roller that's sitting in the front. So there's no other combine that has this thing, so that it gives a smoother crop flow in the machine. But it's similar to all the other Fendt combines, also the L series. It has the handle to lock the header, it has the worldwide hookup, it has the multi-coupler here on the side, so it's easy to hook up the header. Doesn't matter if you put a free flow header on it or a power flow, it fits on because it has the worldwide hookup. So that it doesn't matter if it's a 25 foot or 18 foot you put on it. The whole drive, the PTO shaft out to the header hooks on there. We can have a look at the header afterwards. The crop goes into the machine, into the threshing cylinder. The concave on this machine is a bit special as well. You can adjust the concave in the front and in the back. There's no other combine on the market where you can do that. The reason for you can do that is to find a better. It's more suitable to all crops instead of it's the whole concave that's moving. If you move around, you can see the whole system sitting over here. If you have a look up there, there's two shafts sitting up there. It's to control the whole concave, so you can, if you have the threshing cylinder here, you can angle it forwards and backwards to find the perfect angle and the perfect way of threshing a crop. Doesn't matter what you're harvesting. So that's a big benefit on the combine. The crop is moving from the threshing cylinder to the separator. There's an extra separator on the machine, and it's sitting sort of right here before it goes out to the straw walker. Underneath that there is a concave as well, and that concave can be moved by flicking this switch that's sitting right here. So if you pull out this pin, there's a pin there and there's a pin on the other side. I'll just
niin se pääpuintikela, sen jälkipuintikela on tässä. Ja jos haluat käsitellä sitä olkea vähemmän, niin sä pystyt siirtämään sen alta pois tuonne ylös. Please go on.
You're saying?
I was explaining about the second concave.
Yeah.
That you are going to show.
Yeah.
Wanted to know the reason of it.
Yeah, okay. It's there's no power on it, or?
It has to be on.
Okay, that's fine. You can move the concave in so it's engaged, or move it away. The purpose of that is if you harvest some really dry crop, like I don't think you would do it here, but if you're harvesting like very dry canola, it's a very good idea to move it, because otherwise you would over thresh the whole material, so you would get too much material on your sieve system. So there is a possibility if you are too hard on the material, you can move it away. There's only two positions. You can have it on or you can have it off. You can't have it in between, because then it can't move the material onto the straw walkers. So there's nothing in between it.
You can try now.
And it takes a fair bit of time. It turns up there and there's a little arrow in there showing the position of where it is, and it goes all the way around, so it takes a bit of time, but it's pretty easy to do. it's not very easy to see. If you can come around and have a look over here. The whole machine is built very simple. There's the chain for the unloading, there's a shear bolt sitting up there, and there's a belt drive up from the main gearbox coming out from the engine. Many of the service points are moved out on the outside of the machine, so it's easy to see, easy to reach, so you don't have to crawl into the machine to find them. There's some service points there, and there's also some moved out in the front on the other side. So it's a pretty easy and simple machine. Also, when you look in behind the covers, there's not a lot of belts moving around. There's some belts running the augers that goes across and for the whole save system, but it's made pretty simple, and like on the other combines, there's the bracket to know, so you know where to adjust the tension of the belts. There's sitting a handle here. It's there needs an extra pulley so you can move the belt, and this handle is for putting the chopper in high and low gear. You will only need to put it in low gear if you harvest corn, so it's not necessary to use this handle for anything, because you will always be running in high speed when you use the chopper. Service it, or how wide you want to spread it, and it's pretty simple to do. You can do it from the other side, and it's easy to go into the whole sieve system to have a look in there and to do service if it's necessary. If you we'll try it when we just go around and we can move the chaff spreader. When we look into the machine and look up to the walkers, they are still made on wooden bearings, and that also makes the machine very simple and very easy to service. It's very easy. If you break one of those, it's very easy to take it off and put a new wooden bearing on, and you can keep going. So a lot of the service on the machine is made very simple, and some people would say it's a bit old school, but it's simple and it works.
Joo, tuo Roomenten levitit, siinä on se levittää sivuille, ja mä nyt väärin muista, niin pystyy myös puhaltaa, että menee niin.
It's very easy to adjust the spreading width, and it's very easy when you lift this one up. It's very easy to go into the machine and service it, change knives or whatever you have to do in here. It's pretty simple. Right, and there's counter knives sitting underneath it, and they're also pretty easy to adjust. There's this wobbly plate sitting here, and that's to create some friction, so it doesn't go out the chopper as easy. So it cuts better with a bit of friction on it, so it disturbs the crop flow and makes some shorter cuts.
Laskuttajat pystyy kääntämään näin niin kuin kampassakin, jos haluaa jättää niin kuin paremmin hakattua. Ja sitten nuo kuplat tuolla, niin se jarruttaa sitä massaa vaan, että ei käsitellä aina. Tässä on muuten tämmönen säätöjuttu, jos on sivutulolta koko päivä, niin sä pystyt rajoittamaan se, että se ei levitä niin paljon sivuja. Tää on hyvin nopeaa pöytää.
To start and stop the chopper, you just move this handle. There's an electronic switch on the other side that knows you move a plate inside the machine to lead the crop into the chopper or out of the machine, and that electronic switch on the other side, it's related to a hydraulic cylinder that cuts it on and off. So you can jump in and see where it leaks the material, but there's a sticker here that shows when it's on and when it's off. Around the machine we get to the return elevator. There's a door here in the bottom if you want to look at him and do some service on the elevator. And the next is the clean grain elevator. There's a door on the bottom too. Underneath each auger that goes across the machine, there's a door underneath. So you can open that door and clean out the whole machine so there's no grain left in the machine if you have to switch crop or for winter service. So they're easy to reach to. The return goes back into the threshing cylinder again, all the way up here. There's a sensor that's measuring the amount of return that goes back into the threshing cylinder here. Also on this side there's moved some service points out so it's easy to reach. There is a vacuum hose coming up from the screen that's running around the radiator system. It blows off chaff out of the machine at the back tire. In the machine, it's not sieves like they use in France or in Italy. It's high capacity sieves. It's very important to order them with high capacity sieves because the grain up here is way larger and there's a lot more moisture in it. So it's important to order the high capacity sieves. It's also the ones that's used for corn, but it's important to order them, otherwise you won't get the proper capacity out of the machine. When we go a bit further around the machine, the reversing system is sitting here to reverse the header. That's also controlled from the cab. The older models, it's a handle you pull and then you can reverse the header. This one is hydraulically reversing. A new thing there is on the machines is underneath. It's not very easy to see, but if you go underneath here, you can see some bolts and nuts you can take off, and there is a piece of metal you can take off, and you can take the return pan out of the machine if you need to clean it. It's on the newer models. The machines that's 2 or 3 years old, they don't have it, but these models have that option, so it's easier to clean the machine if it does get dirty when you are harvesting canola or some wet crop. Fuel and AdBlue is pretty easy to get to. It's just up the steps and it's right there. To service the radiator system, it's just taking those clamps off, one here and one right there, and you can move it out and you can lift it up, and it's easy to clean the whole radiator system. The air filter is sitting right here, also easy to reach. That door right there underneath, you can open that one and you have direct access to the straw walkers if you do block it or if you do have to go down and do some service on the machine. That's the way to do it. Underneath here the engine is sitting, also easy to open up the door and do some service on it. The oil tank sitting right there, easy to do some service on. The grain tank, when it opens, you can access it from this side and go down the grain tank if you do need to do some cleaning. It's a 9,000 liter grain tank on this machine, and there are some adjustable small spouts on the unloading auger, so if you want to change the unloading rate. Start here in the front. Like I said before, the hookup, it doesn't matter if you take a free flow or power flow header, it's the same hookup. The PTO shaft, the multi-coupler, it all fits together, so it doesn't matter, or if it's an L series you put a header on, it doesn't matter, so it all fits together. We move around here. all the drive of the header happens on this side into the auger, to the power flow belts, and to the knife drive. Very simple build up and easy to maintain. Up here there is an adjustment for the fingers on the reel, so you can adjust it depending on how aggressive you want it and depending on the feeding and the condition. Header, there's also the Schumacher system, so the knife blades are sitting opposite each other all the way through, so you always get a nice and clean cut. Many competitors has the knives only sitting in one way, and you need a bracket to hold it down to make a nice cut all the time and do some adjustments. But because of the Schumacher system, you don't have to do any adjustment. It makes a nice and clean cut all the time.
Schumacher-tyyli, niin siinä ei ole näitä rautapaloja, jotka painaa sitä terää alas. Tällä pitää sen ylöspäin ja pitää sen alaspäin. Siinä on vähemmän jarrua tossa, kun on tavaraa pöydällä. Sitten se on ruuvattavat nuo terät, että ne saa hyvin helposti vaihdettua painollaan, jos tulee joku kivi, joka rikkoo, niin kuullaan tosi tavalla. Jos menee laittamaan pöytä liian alas.
There is a set of sensors in each side of the header to control the header for the header height control. Power flow belt, there's a couple of more belts on this one compared to the superflow that goes on the ideal, but it's the same. There's some adjustments underneath, and there's a hole underneath the header where it's important to keep the header clean. Otherwise, the power flow belts will fill up with dirt and dust and straw. Hydraulic engine for the real drive. And on this side you also adjust the fingers that's sitting in the feed drum, and also here you can adjust the height like on the other side. The cabin is pretty simple. The whole armrest is very simple. That's for the threshing, for the machine, and for the header, and the parking brake. Here you adjust the engine speed. The buttons over here is your shortcuts to do some settings on the machine. And there is also on this machine there is a road mode. You have to engage the road mode, otherwise it won't go very fast on the road. The handle itself, it's also pretty simple for the unloading auger, the unloading, the automatic, if there's an auto steering, and the header up and down and sideways, and the reel function. The whole screen is also very simple made. You can push on the combine. You can find all your combine settings, all your combine functions. There is in the terminal. Push on the header and you have all your header settings. You can also go to the reel setting, and you can adjust your reel how you like it. There are some different header settings. So this is a constant cut. This is return to cut, and this is if you are harvesting crop that's lying down, you can use that function. and here is the actually tilt of the header. You can also use that one. You go into this one. You have your crop settings. You can push it again and you can select your crop. Once you selected your crop and press OK, the machine will automatically start setting the machine, and you can go harvest your crop. There's the documentation part. It works like in the tractor and like on the Ideal. It's pretty simple to use as well. There's a camera on the machine. In here you have your main settings on the terminal. You can also have different options in the bottom part of the screen if you want to have some information or only camera or information in both.
Yep.